Iron Claw is the biopic movie on the Von Erich wrestling family from the 1970s and 80s and a little bit of the 90s in what is a remarkable true story, turns out to be a really good biopic. And after having watching so many biopics just this year, what stands out for me is the performance of Zac Efron. I I'm not familiar with Zach's early work in his musicals or even in any of the comedies that he's done. I've actually never seen a single movie of his that he's been in until this film. What I can say is from photos of the past is that this man looks he he morphed into this role. This really standard, very well done biopic, like I said, becomes absolutely special because of this performance. People need to start talking about giving this gentleman a at least a nomination for best actor. What he's able to do is show us a very loyal and dedicated brother and family member while slowly being taken apart from the deaths of his brothers to the dysfunctional relationship with his father and then becoming a father himself and being so afraid of the Von Erich curse that he changes the names of his children to his born name, which I think is Addison. It's Addison. So he this again, this movie is special because of this performance. The emotional payoff at the end is special because of everything he puts in throughout this performance and the way that this story is told. Of course, I loved and really was amazed with all the theatrics, the physicalities, how committed these actors, were to the roles. I was really impressed. This is what a an actor should do when they're taking this on. Is that they must fully just encompass this role, like just disappear in these roles for us to fully believe that they're wrestlers. I really believed that he was a wrestler. I could tell too when sometimes as far as like those actors that are athletic that maybe play a baseballer or a wrestler or it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it doesn't really work. This was not the case. This I was really impressed, and it was really cool to see too the recreations of the Ric Flair uh, um, kind of made him out to look like a really like one of the villains of the film, and he's really he represents kind of that outside world that wants to pick apart the family, that wants to pick apart the wrestling federation that they helped create in Texas. So he's a great villain. He's great to watch. But it's almost as if also too that really the villain here is that curse of the family and just just kind of how they all had to deal with the hard um, relationships that they had with their parents, and both of them are just almost old school to a fault. Obviously there's some good things about being a tight family and being religious and looking out for each other. But whenever I thought what was interesting that with Kevin's character, the oldest brother, living brother, he would go to the family and he would say, go to the dad or go to the mom. Hey, lighten up on Mike. Hey, I need your help. Can you help me out with this brother, or that brother? And they always said, it's between you guys. It's between you brothers. And listen, I'm going off of what I saw, not the true facts, whether that's true or not. It made for great dramatic tension. And you gotta remember this is a dramatized portrayal of this family. And I know that there was some omissions that they left out, reading in regard to the writer director, he says we can only take so much death because they did leave out the death of Chris Von Erich. But I got to tell you, they handled each one really well. You liked each brother, you liked each actor that played the brother, but it was always going back to Zach. It's as if this whole film was his point of view and how he maneuvered with his family, cared for his family. Of course, one of the highlights is when they're all wrestling together, coming into that rock and roll music, coming into that crowd. That was a great montage. That was a great uh, that was a great scene. So top-notch actors, fantastic cast. I would say that this is a very solid biopic that is made great by Zach's performance. I think without Zach, it kind of would just be a little more forgettable. Everything's done well. It's just, again, I've seen a lot of these biopics. In particular, I've seen a lot this year. And Iron Claw, what makes it special is this performance by Zac Efron. I also want to tell you, I think it's an incredible year. It has been an incredible year for uh, men, for relationships with brothers, relationships with fathers and sons. Because what I loved about this this tale as well is that Zach's character, at the end of the day, he doesn't want to be like his father. He wants to be different with his two sons. And there's a moment where he is watching his sons play, kind of roughhousing, playing football on the yard, just towards the end of the film. And he starts crying, and it's a quiet cry. It's like a smiling cry. And the kids notice, and they're like, "Hey, Dad, what's wrong? What's wrong, Dad?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. You shouldn't see me crying. Men don't cry." And the sons say, "We cry all the time." It was a great scene, very well done. A lot of love, some wonderful hope there that the curse will be broken. And then they go to show you just how his family has flourished, like his kids and their grandsons. They show like a real life photo, so that was really nice to see some sort of hopeful and happy closure after the fact. Now let me tell you, this is a very tough, tragic drama to get through, just because of all the deaths in this family that happened in real life, that happened in this. So it's not that hopeful fun ride zippity doo dah that you see in the trailer, which I think is kind of doing it to its it does it a little bit of a disservice. I want to say one more. I want to talk about one more scene, and then we'll close it out on this review. There's a beautiful afterlife scene where I believe it's Mike, played by the actor from The Bear. And after he's taken his life, he's on a boat. It's a boat on one of the Texas rivers. And you see he's got a coin, and he puts the coin on his boat for the boatman, right? And me and Romy were watching this, and that's when it really grabbed us. It's really towards the end of this film, it really grabbed us. And he sees in the horizon a pier. And on that pier, he sees his three brothers. And they're like, "Hey, Mike." And you're just like, "Oh my God, he gets to go and be with his brothers." That's heavy, because in real life, and as in the story, their suicide notes, what they said to family members before they took their lives was that, you know, I just want to be with my brothers. Beautiful reunited moment in the afterlife. No hokey special effects. It's kind of slice of life, that beautiful magic realism. And he then asks, where's Junior? Their oldest brother that died before they were born, but he died when he was a kid. So they literally, like, he's right here. And they show Junior, this little boy, because that's when he passed away. And they all hug, and you're just like, wow. Wow. That was a wonderful scene. That really catapulted the ending for me, and the story of these brothers and Zac Efron, this wrestling story. I think it's fascinating that a Texas wrestling family is the subject, because there's another wrestling movie I do want to talk about in a second from Texas, completely different environment. It's set in El Paso, completely different set of underdog circumstances. Now, let me just say right now, in regards to Iron Claw, it is now in the movie theaters. So that's where you can go and check it out. It's just filmed very well. Definitely in my top 10. I don't think it's in my top 5, but it catapulted for me because of the performance by Zac Efron. All right.